Hi, welcome to the Red Booth Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Q. On tonight's episode, I have Grammy winner Dave Yaden returning to talk with us about his new music. So come and join us. So hello, Dave.
Hello, Kim.
Welcome back to the Red Booth Show.
Thank you. I feel welcome.
Well, you are. I'm very happy to have you here.
I'm very happy to be here. Fill this red booth again.
This is the place to be. So
why does that sound so dirty? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's just me.
Good. Now you have got a new album, I think, as well.
Yes.
Let's hear about this.
So I've been, although kind of like in LA, I've been known as a piano player. I've never put anything instrumental out, and that's it's really stupid because at the end of the day, I do so much instrumental music. I do some instrumental music for film and TV, and then also part of the songwriting process, depending on who you're writing for, is a lot of times what you do is you write all the music. You try to write as beautiful and hooky and awesome of a pop track as possible, and then you send it to someone who wants to write their own melodies and lyrics over it. I do that too for some people, but I do a lot of instrumental music that way. And then again, like live in LA, one of my favorite things to do is go out and play like funk and jazz piano. And I've written a lot of songs over the years and never ever done an album. So I decided to do an album. So and actually the way that it came together was I was doing a show at the Hotel Cafe, and there was a producer there, actually a Grammy award-winning producer, Tom Malkowitz, who saw me and said, I want to do a record with you. So that's how it started. And we're almost done. We're mixing right now.
Wow, that's so awesome. How many songs did you put onto this album?
Well, it kept adding. We kept on adding and adding and adding songs. So it was going to be an EP, and now it's a full record.
What's the difference? Like, how many does it qualify to?
Yeah, that's EP is actually, do you know what it stands for?
No.
So do you know what LP stands for? That's
No.
fine. That's all right. But well, I mean, I don't know why you would. But but you know, these, well, they are vinyl. They're terms that used to refer to vinyl.
Okay.
So you had a single,
right?
Which we still use that term.
Correct.
We still actually use all these vinyl terms for music now. So you had a single, which is like on a record would be, I believe, one play on one side and one play on the other, right? And then an LP, and that's like the vinyl records that we're all used to. LP just stands for long play. So you had a single and then an LP, and then basically, like, if you only wanted to put out like 5 or 6 songs, it's not enough to fill up an LP, right? But it's too much for a single.
Right. So they call that an EP, which means what?
Extended play.
Extended play.
Which it's extended from the single. I always thought it was a little. To me, extended play sounds like it's going to be longer than the long play. It's extended, but no, it's so you have a single.
It's an extra.
And then extended play. So essentially, it'd be like extended play is like somewhere between 4 and like 6 songs usually. And I actually think that the way that we're going to do it was we're going to release it as 2 EPs. I think so. We'll release one, and then we'll release another.
Okay, cool. Now this is similar sounding to, I remember when you were on the show last year, you had this new music video, and you're like in the desert, and you're going crazy playing the piano.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So the difference between what I'm doing now and that one is that this is all live. We filmed it live and recorded it live. We went into it wasn't live in a venue.
So it's not like a studio thing.
It is in the studio,
okay,
but we were all in the same room and we all recorded at the same time.
Okay.
So that's not usually how music is done anymore. Unless the only time that music is done usually that way is blues and jazz. And jazz is always cut live. So what's fun about this is that it's in the jazz style, and it is in the old style.
Why is it just jazz and that genre that does it that way?
Well, 2 reasons. Number one,
because they're so much better. Is that basically something like that?
Well, jazz is. I don't want to like talk smack about pop music because I love it, but really, they used to cut almost everything as live as possible because then you get that chemistry between people, right? So it's exactly the same thing as, theoretically, you could shoot this interview just yourself, 3 cameras on you, right? All angles this way, and you ask questions, right? And then also film you looking interested, as if you're listening to an answer, right? And then I'm out of town, so you can't do it when I can do it. So then we come in here, they feed me your questions, I answer all the questions, and then they cut it all together. And chances are, if you and I are good at acting and good at giving our answers or whatever, that they can cut together an interview that no one would ever know that we weren't doing it at the same time. However, it does completely remove any chemistry that you and I might have just intellectually and as people, right? It will remove all of those moments. So in the same way, it's exactly the same thing with music. So you can have a drummer and a bass player listen to a song, figure it out, write it, and play it together. And there is nothing that compares to that chemistry.
Where they're just jamming.
Yeah. When they're playing and they lock in and it's been played together, there's nothing that compares to that.
That's so cool.
So, but it's a more expensive way to do things.
Because to do it all at one time?
Oh yeah.
Really? Because you'd think it would be less with all the...
It's more expensive, it's more expensive, it's more time consuming, it involves more people, it involves a lot more equipment, it involves so many more things. It used to be the only way that you could do it, so that's the way everything was done. And now...
Someone will just do like a drum track, or someone will just do whatever.
Now you can do it all on a computer. Almost all music is made in the computer. There's singles on the radio now that were made, in some cases, in somebody's bedroom on Pro Tools.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a whole new world in regards to that.
Yes, it's good and it's bad at the same time. But I mean, technology is always both of those things.
Well, on that note, we have to take a quick break. But
Sweet.
We'll be right back with Dave Yaden.
I really wanted to put a deck on my house.
The floor was creaking and there were cracks in the wall.
I had them put in walls in my basement.
Well, the whole thing was done on time, on budget, and not a day of work was missed.
Alpha Structural is a top-rate company. I'd recommend them to anybody.
If you live in a hillside home and gravity is pulling you towards the edge of the cliff, I recommend you call Alpha.
It was a real pleasure to work with Alpha.
And welcome back to the Red Booth Show. I'm here again with Dave Yaden. How's it going, Dave?
It's going great.
Cool. I'm so excited that I got to have you back on the show, by the way, because...
Oh, yeah, it's really nice to be back here.
Well, I'm happy that you wanted to come back because I think the last interview that you did here was pretty amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And I think, you really shared and touched on some stuff that spoke to a lot of people about, the whole buzz and the way people react to you because you're a Grammy winner, but like how you actually really view it and think of it as an artist.
All right, I think we talked about just the reason for doing music, and yes, I do remember that.
So now you've come out with more music of your own to put out, which is really great because you won those for other people's music.
That's
in a
correct.
way, right?
Yeah.
So that's got to be like, it's cool, but it's like I want to put my music out there.
Yeah, you know what? I find that there's two different kinds of songwriters, and I have spoken to both kinds. There are some songwriters, actually, a really great version of this kind of songwriter that's actually now famous is Sia.
Right.
Like Sia does not want you to know who she is. That is something you can. That's thus the commitment. Like it's not shtick.
Yeah.
She doesn't want you to know. She wants to be able to go to Ralph's. Yeah. Like, she wants to be able to sit somewhere in public and enjoy her coffee. She wants that anonymity. Yeah. I don't even know. I haven't read too much about her, but I don't know how much she enjoys doing even interviews and stuff like that. It's very interesting.
Because she started out being in her music videos, and then I think she started getting recognized too much on the street, and she was like, no. So now she has this, you know, the cute little girl, and she has like the wig and the whole thing. Yeah. Actually, my kids were in some of her recent music videos.
No kidding.
Yeah, like doing the whole wig thing and stuff. Pretty funny. You can't recognize them, but yeah.
So there's that, which she ended up being an artist, but then I do know songwriters that want nothing to do with the life. They don't want to do interviews. They just want to write music and send it away. That's what they want, and they are satisfied and to see them that performed. They don't
by
wanna,
somebody else.
Yeah. And as long as their business, like their, you know, the people in their industry know that they did that, they don't want to travel, they don't want to play live, they don't want to do any of that stuff. Now for me, it's different. The other side of it is that as an artist, a lot of times, especially if you write prolifically, as I do, and for multiple genres, then you end up being a songwriter as well, just because I write all the time.
Yeah.
And I do like writing all kinds of different music. But sometimes, it is hard to go. That's actually what pushed me very hard into being an artist, is because eventually what was happening is I was getting known for more being a songwriter than an artist, and
you weren't so happy. I mean, it's good.
I feel like I have things to say, and I want the chance to do this interview, as opposed to being the
behind the scenes guy.
Yeah. Whatever.
Well, I mean, it's kind of obvious when you see you performing. I mean, you get into it. You're like, it kind of reminds me of like, Animal from the Muppets, right? He's just like, and his hair's just going crazy, and super enjoying it. And you play live every Tuesday night, is it? I think.
I actually used to play all the way up until a couple weeks ago. We had a show in L.A. that got written up as the best live night in Los Angeles. It's called Super Tuesdays.
Wow.
Super Tuesdays Live. But we just stopped doing that, and we'll probably start up something else, maybe under a different name or something like that. But
why did you decide to stop?
It was time.
Okay.
Yeah. It was time. You got. It's very intense doing a show every.
You did it for like a year, so.
More than that, yeah.
Really.
It's very intense doing a show every week with a. It's very intense doing a show every week. How we were doing it, because we also had like 3 or 4 guest singers every time. Most of them from like Stefano, who's American Idol, or India from India Carney from The Voice, or it was mostly.
She's great. She's
she's phenomenal.
Oh my God.
It was mostly singers from either American Idol or The Voice, and then there were some signed artists and just amazing local artists and stuff like that. But to do that every week, I can only imagine. What I can't imagine is doing like a show like The Tonight Show. Like I can't.
That's every
imagine
night.
Doing that.
Yeah.
No. just no.
But I'm sure they get used to it. Yeah.
I don't know. I was doing it once a week and I didn't get used to it. Yeah. It was always like, oh God. Or you just have the weeks when you're not inspired, and then it becomes a little more work. But whatever. It was all very worth it, and led to a lot of really beautiful relationships that I have now, and a lot of new artists that I got to meet, and so it was great. I loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to take another quick break.
Sweet.
And we will be back with Dave Yaden.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
And welcome back to the Red Booth Show. I'm here with Dave Yaden. So we're talking about the life, the musician life. Mm-hmm. There's the kind of musicians who really want to get out there and like be everywhere in front of people, and then there's those sort of behind the scenes guys. Mm-hmm. And you've become so well acknowledged for your writing skills because, you know, obviously you've done that for many other artists, mm-hmm. and it's been really successful. Would you say that now you're kind of hoping to go on those big tours and be that person in front of a huge amphitheater kind of a...
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. That's what looks like, that's what we're working on. Looks like it's coming up, especially in 2018, which is actually when we're planning on releasing, if that's not, that's when we're planning on releasing everything. So we'll probably start we'll leak out a couple singles. We'll release stuff this year. And we also, right now we're throwing like solos on from some famous blues and jazz musicians and stuff like that. So Mindy Abair is going to come play a couple solos, and we have a very, very, very well-known backup musician who plays with everybody, named Ethan Farmer. He played some bass on it. We've got so we have a bunch of like guest artists that are like, you know, just making it more special. And I actually, and
would you consider it's jazz actually?
That's what it will be released under.
Okay.
But it is not that.
It's not.
No.
What is it?
It's funk.
Okay.
Yeah. But what's interesting is that right now there's not everything as radio, and this always happens with everything, but as radio became more like corporate and they started to like boil down the genres, right? And until you have like rock radio is not pop radio, right? You don't have and then you have blues radio, but like back in the day you have like, you know, Janis Joplin, and you have Jimi Hendrix and B.B. King and the Beatles. These are all being played on the same radio stations, and now they're not being played on the same radio stations. Now, especially on the same radio stations, you will not hear B.B. King and Janis Joplin. You won't, and you don't have. In pop, like they, you know, like top 40 stations will be the stations that will mix a little bit, but then, you know, but you have like hip hop stations and pop stations where hip hop is pop music. So it's so boiled down and divided up now, and because instrumental music is not really something that people are doing a lot of, although they're live, people are doing instrumental music a lot. Jazz is still everywhere, right. But it's not. There's no
radio play for that. Yeah. Well,
so,
I mean, and also,
so we'll see. it's so really. In other words, I'm really making. To me, it's a pop record.
Right.
There are very little elements in it that I would call jazz, except for some of the chord structure is a little jazzy. But they're very poppy, simple melodies. My jazz I would compare it more to like a Duke Ellington era of jazz. I'm not in any way saying that I'm Duke Ellington. I'm saying that like if you listen back to jazz back then, you can hum the melodies. Generally,
it's not that jazz that's like everything all over the place. And
well, like there are some that you can hum, but like they're. You know, Bud Powell, John Coltrane, some of these, you can't, they get to a point where unless you're a very talented jazz scat artist, you cannot hum their melodies anymore, because jazz became focused in another place. But initially jazz was pop music, and it had very, very singable melodies, and that were often, a lot of times people don't realize that songs like Take the A Train or whatever were written as instrumentals, and then someone later wrote lyrics to them because they were so singable. Someone was like, oh, well, I'm going to write
some lyrics over
yeah.
that.
But anyway, so I would compare it more to that era. They're very poppy melodies, very like...
How do you know all these things about the history of music?
Well, I mean, I play music for a living. I should know, right?
Yes. You researched it on your own, or did you like learn it all from music school, or?
No. I would say just the interest in it. You know, I mean, just like you were talking earlier that you were used to edit sound.
Yeah.
But you were editing sound as a result of being like in this, and you've probably done more than edit sound. So I think that like just as we get into, as our interests become more focused, then we begin to like branch out and look for things that inspire us. And I think that that's how I always feel like I should know more about that stuff than I do. But I guess I know like a little bit.
You kind of know a lot, I think.
I mean,
cool.
I love to think about how much I think. I'd like to think I know a lot about a lot of things.
All right, well, we have to take another break, but we'll be back with Dave Yaden.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
And welcome back to the Red Booth Show. We are here with musician Dave Yaden.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. He's quite intelligent and talented.
Yo.
Yes.
Stop it.
So I'm excited that you are going more in the direction of putting your own stuff out, because like when you were on the show last year, you were like, yeah, I won these Grammys, but then you can't even like say what they were for.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're like, remember that song? Nope, can't talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, because you're the writer, and it's
exactly.
That's got to be like so hard, you know.
Yeah, it is, but you can either like decide to take something like that and make it positive, or you know, spend time wallowing in self-pity. So well, since I do that enough as a musician, I
wallowing in self-pity.
Yeah.
So, but for most people, just winning
self-pity and crippling self-doubt. That's the life of an artist.
That kind of goes with the territory, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
never good enough.
That's why only a certain kind of person can date us.
What is that?
That shit's intense.
That's the crazy people, right?
Crazy people,
the crazy people.
I believe I go in this category.
Right.
I whatever.
So you have the new album coming out, and you have some singles coming out as well with a few other artists.
With like literally within the last 2 weeks, 2 jazz artists released albums that both charted. So it's really exciting for me. One of them is Aubrey Logan. So Aubrey Logan, she is a phenomenal, legit jazz singer. That also she has a phenomenal voice, like real deal, incredible, wonderful, wonderful voice, and she's a great trombone player. So it's this thing where she gets up and sings and blows your mind for like 2 or 3 songs, and then during one song she'll play a trombone solo, and she picks it up, and oh geez, it's amazing. It's no fair is what it is. And then so she just put an album out. She got really big recently, or gained a lot more popularity recently, because she does a lot of singing with Postmodern Jukebox. Do you know
okay, yeah, I love them.
Yeah, so
I love them so much. Of course, you would think I would, right? Because
well, then the
pinup.
You definitely know who she is.
Okay,
you've seen her a bunch of times.
Okay, cool.
And she's been touring with them a lot. So she just put out an album, and I co-wrote track 1 on that album.
What'd they name it? What is the name of it?
It's called Crying on an Airplane. It's a really great song. It's about a song that is a true story, where she had this moment with this guy where she really liked him and he really liked her, but it was kind of new, and so he said some things as they were leaving that all of a sudden basically let her know that he felt the same way about her, that she, you know, that kind of thing. And she was like, yeah, and left and got on the plane without reciprocating, and then was on the plane going, what have I done? Like, I should have said something. And so she had this whole plane ride where she freaked out and felt like she... and this is, of course, long enough ago that like you couldn't even send an email like there's no Wi-Fi on the plane, you know, so has no way. She had this long flight where she felt like she'd ruined everything. So the song is about her like basically going through, oh, this is what I should have done, this should have done, and now I'm just sitting here crying on this airplane. Whoa. But it's a very bouncy, fun song actually. So it's a funny and fun song. And then Mindy Abair, who is a very famous in the smooth jazz world. She's famous, although she's never really been a smooth jazz sax player. She's been a blues rock sax player her whole life. But then again, we kind of go back to what we were talking about earlier, where the instrumental music often just gets shoved into like one or two categories, and where it really belongs in a bunch of different categories. But anyway, so she just put out a blues rock record. And it's the first time I think that she's been like deeply true to what she wanted to do. And she actually recorded her album the same way that I recorded mine. She went into a studio,
did it all live. And what's the song that's on her album that you did?
It's called Freedom. Cool. And it's kind of like we kind of tried to write an Aerosmith song, but the lead is saxophone. Nice. Which probably sounds a little weird. But it turned out really great actually, and that's also on the charts. Oh, so yeah, so Aubrey's album, it went to #2 on the iTunes Jazz charts, and that she just got on Billboard, and Mindy's now on Billboard too, and so that all happened pretty quick within like a couple weeks. Wow. Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. That's so exciting.
It's very exciting. It's awesome. It has made this month wonderful.
And I mean, obviously, that's just with some of your input in it, and you know, you've been doing this for other people. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that once your actual album comes out,
I need to get my butt in gear and finish my own album. Yeah. So.
Well, this has been really cool and interesting as usual, and I'm very much looking forward to your new album that's coming out. And
me too.
Yeah. And everyone should definitely go and, you know, follow you on social media so that they can find out when it's out and go and buy it on iTunes when it comes out. Exactly. Right?
Yes, yes. So come see a live show, and I guess Instagram is the place to go for me right now. I'm loving Instagram. I spent some time on the grams.
Nice. Yeah. Instagram's taking over.
It is.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.